Hello, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley with you. It is Tuesday afternoon, and we're chugging along through the week. And we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to winter weather concern. Going toward the end of the week, the odds of winter weather are pretty high, especially Saturday into Sunday. They have us concerned about what could become a major storm for our area. Right now, no storm has formed yet, but we're expecting one to, and to head our way with a lot of cold air and a lot of moisture. So those are two factors that you need to have to get winter weather in the Carolinas. But before that happens, we have a lot of details to work out for you. So we'll start with the bullet points here as we're issuing a weather impact alert heading into tonight and then into tomorrow. Well, sorry, not tonight, but into the weekend, really. It's Saturday and Sunday for the weekend. Looking at a winter storm as a good bet for both of those days. Now, we're still looking at the potential of either sleet, snow, or ice for our area. And that's going to be a big deal, starting sometime on Saturday, ending up sometime into Sunday. So it's a 2-day event. This is a longer event than what we usually see. Typically, it doesn't last very long, but this is a long duration event. Major winter storm potential. So what we have here is a high impact storm with heavy snow as a possibility, or heavy sleet, or heavy ice. All of those are all options on the table for our area. So right now what we're most sure about is that a storm is going to form and going to move our way. What we're a little less sure about is what are the precipitation types and how do they break down around the area. So talking about how much sleet do you get in Greensboro versus how much snow? Who gets more ice versus who doesn't? Those are factors that we still don't have worked out just yet, and probably won't for a couple of days. I'm not drawing a snow total map tomorrow necessarily. That's probably coming up on our Thursday. But in the meantime, we're looking at all of these bullet points here and working our way closer and closer to understanding the system. It's important to still keep in mind where we are in this forecasting process. When it comes to a winter storm, being 3 to 5 days away is pretty far away still, and that's typically when we're just starting to get an idea of what type of storm it might be. And at this point, we still have some uncertainty. It's unclear if it would be mostly snow or if it would be mostly ice or somewhere in between. So keep all of that in mind as we're in here. We're not marrying ourselves to the flavor of the storm just yet. I want to make sure that's pretty clear, but it is going to be a big deal regardless. And the reason I say that, we have a whole lot of moisture available to us. There's 1 to maybe 1.5 inches of water available, and that's very significant. That means usually that would, translate to about 10 to 20 inches of snow. No, I'm not saying I'm forecasting that, but we've had that much snow in the past, and that could happen again. But it's rare for a reason, and part of the reason it's rare is usually we mix with some sleet in a storm, especially a storm like this, and I do tend to think that will probably happen this time as well, if not freezing rain. So bottom line, winter storm is likely this weekend, but we're still fine-tuning those details, and we'll continue to do so over the next couple of days. A little bit of an idea on timing here. Let me just show you the scale of the system, because boy, this is just so impressive to me. When you look at it on the wide view, it really kind of puts into perspective what we're looking at. And you can see that this tracks all the way back toward Texas and Oklahoma. What I'm showing you, it's just one forecast model. It's not the end-all be-all. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but just for guide and perspective on this system, look at how big this thing is. I mean, we're talking about it starting over in New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, and then translating all the way across the country, going from Saturday even into early Monday. So this is a really widespread, a really long-lasting event. And some of the problems with us, and like I said, we'll figure out how much snow falls and how much ice falls. Some of the problems for us are that there's so much moisture to play with. Whatever we get is going to be heavy. So whether it's heavy ice or heavy snow or heavy sleet, whatever we get, it's going to be heavy. I try to explain it this way. Usually winter weather outcomes in North Carolina, you need to have a mix of cold air available and moisture. Now that moisture can't be too warm and the cold air can't be too dry. All of those things have to be just right. In this case, it looks like that we are looking at cold air at the surface, moisture moving our way. Now that could introduce that mixing component. This can be a setup for an ice storm as well. So what we know, the very cold air is locked in, lots of moisture coming at us from the south, but the big question is who gets big snow and who gets big ice? Those are the questions that we still need to figure out. Now when it comes to this storm system for our area, as of right now, I already feel pretty comfortable putting the snow and travel impacts up in the high category. Ice, not as sure about that. Typically with this type of a track, I would expect ice to be more of a concern for South Carolina than us. That's not to say that couldn't change. Wherever the heaviest ice falls, that's who's going to have the power outage risk. And boy, are there going to be a lot of power outages with that ice. I would expect it. Typically, if you get 1/4 of an inch of ice or higher, that's when you start to have some issues. And that is very likely with this system for somebody in the Carolinas. It's important to keep in mind that these snow and ice lines can change. This would be one possibility, but so is this one. And so is that one. So all of those are still on the table here, and I only show that just to illustrate a little bit of uncertainty to let you know that we know things do change, can change, and typically have changed in the past with other storms that we've tracked throughout the years. It's been a while since we tracked one, but this is something that we tend to do in the Carolinas. Now, this might be a bigger storm than we're used to, but it is something that we are used to doing in the past. It's just been a little while. Some computer model data here for you. This is strictly just ripped from the computers. I'm not adding my input. I'm not endorsing any of this per se, but these are just numbers from various computer models trying to get an idea how much snow might fall. And it doesn't say anything about ice, right? It doesn't say anything about ice here. So who could get what in terms of snowfall? The odds at the bottom there are odds of over 1 foot of snow, which you can see are not zero with this type of an event. Odds of over 6 inches are there as well, over 3 inches and over 1 inch. It's all pretty significant. And if you're curious, has it been a long time since we had a big snow? It's been a very long time. We've gone now longer than we've ever gone in our recorded history, which goes back to 1903. We've gone about 2,600 days without a 4-inch snowfall, which is to say snowfalls are part of our climate. We're supposed to get snowfalls. We haven't really been getting them, at least not big ones. So defining a 4-inch snowfall as a big one, we haven't had one of those in about 2,600 days. It's been quite a long time. We're looking ahead here at the weekend, and in case you're just joining us, kind of the main bullet points that we're looking at. Saturday and Sunday, a winter storm is looking more likely for our area. We're unsure still on where the lines of snow, sleet, or ice will be. We're also unsure about exact amounts for this storm, but it does start sometime during the day on Saturday. It'll end sometime during the day on Sunday, but probably very late. We might have to adjust that to go into Monday morning as well. So kind of keep that in mind as we go farther along here. The impacts are likely to going to be pretty high, and that means that you might be stuck where you are for a couple of days, not just Saturday into Sunday, but also into next week. So it's a good idea for you to plan on being stuck somewhere for several days. I know that might sound dramatic, but if you've been through an ice storm before, you've been through a snowstorm before, these are the things that we deal with, right? Being stuck somewhere is part of what we're covering, and that is part of our concern. So either snow or ice is likely to make for difficult travel and or power outages. It's a good idea to be prepared and have a plan. If I were to need to commit to something right now, this is kind of what I would be thinking. A mostly snow event for the Northwest Piedmont areas north of I-85 and I-40, and that's where you would have the biggest snow totals. The lighter shade of pink would be mixing in with more sleet and maybe some freezing rain as well, kind of a crusty accumulation. And then that shadier that pinker shade, the darker pink shade, that would be the area that would have the higher risk of some ice. So those are all things for us to consider, and we'll be fine-tuning that as we get closer. But kind of wanted to lay it out there for you. It looks like a big storm. Good idea to consider things that you might be needing as we get a little bit closer. I know a lot of these things probably flying off the shelves, but it is still pretty important. So take care and be safe. We'll be continuing to give you updates over the next several days, and more forecast information will become clear as we get a little bit closer.